Hello, everyone, and warm welcome to today's session. We are delighted to have you here as we explore how to excel in your Oxford Executive MBA application. My name is Alejandra de Rojas, and I'm a member of the Ember recruitment team at Oxford Saïd Business School, originally from the vibrant city of Barcelona, Spain. I bring over 11 years of experience as a recruitment manager at several top business schools. My role is dedicated to guiding candidates like yourselves on the path towards becoming an Oxford student. Joining me here today is my colleague Alex McNamara, Senior Admissions Advisor. Alex has been with the school for many years and has skillfully assisted hundreds of students through the admissions journey. Rest assured, you're in capable hands, and we look forward to answering your questions as the session progresses. Next slide, please. Here you can see the rest of our senior leadership, admissions, and recruitment team. Each one of us is responsible for different regions across the globe, ensuring that wherever you're located, there's always a dedicated team member ready to assist you. Next slide, please. In this session, we will provide you with an overview of the Oxford Executive MBA, outline the application process, explain candidate criteria, offer application tips, and describe what happens after submissions. In under an hour, you will gain the knowledge and confidence needed to start your application. Please submit your questions using the Q&A function, and we will answer them during the session. Next slide, please. If you choose to embark on the Executive MBA program, your journey will be engaging and intellectually stimulating. The teaching style is dynamic and encourages active participation, centering on lively debates and thoughtful discussions. Throughout the course, you will find the experience to be deeply reflective and enriching. The program uses a modular format, meaning that students at Oxford take between 14 and 16 modules of 22 to 24 months. This structure enables participants to manage their studies alongside professional and personal commitments. We have 2 cohorts a year, one in January and one in September. Most modules are held in person in Oxford, except Module 1, which is online for the January 2026 intake. There are also 2 core international modules and several optional international electives. And you can see here some examples of the international modules and electives on the screen. Places like China/Vietnam, India, Peru/Brazil, USA, and South Africa. So as you can see here, it's a really global program. Each class typically has 60 to 70 students, offering opportunities to expand your global network, from lasting relationships, and engage with world-class faculty. In terms of the structure of your weeks on the module, sessions usually run from Monday to Friday. This means you will travel to Oxford and take part in your module over those 5 days. Afterwards, you will return home for around 4 to 6 weeks before coming back to the following module. This cycle continues throughout the roughly 2-year duration of the program. For the 2-year program, you will study 11 core subjects, including areas such as finance, strategy, and leadership, alongside a dedicated entrepreneurship project. This entrepreneurship project allows you to explore your entrepreneurial side, putting together a complete business plan, and putting your program learnings and ideas into practice. A number of these businesses have been launched in the real world, which obviously shows just how practical in real life this project is. In your second year, you will select your 4 electives, allowing you to customize your master's program according to your interests. This flexibility can be particularly valuable if you're considering a career change. Additionally, it's an excellent opportunity to expand your experience within the Oxford ecosystem by studying alongside participants from other Executive MBA cohorts. Next slide, please. This is just a snapshot of our Oxford Executive MBA January 2026 class, which highlights the remarkable diversity within our cohort, featuring students from 38 different nationalities and representing 33 distinct sectors. In terms of gender split, we tend to welcome around 30 to 38% women onto the Oxford Executive MBA program. We would love to have more gender parity in our classes, and we do encourage all women to make sure to apply before the upcoming deadline that is meant to be on the 10th of November for both January and September intakes. There's still scholarships available. The average age tends to be 40 and the average years of professional experience 15. Of course, there are very big ranges around that. Next slide. As you can see here, we have a very diverse group of people from many different sectors and also from many different countries by nationality and also by where people are based. 70 to 80% tend to fly from outside the UK, from all over the world to come to study at Saïd Business School. We consider this variety crucial when shaping your classes, as it is not only something that enriches the whole experience, but also embodies the core values of our business school. Next slide, please. The group consists of individuals from a very diverse range of industries, including healthcare, nonprofits, and real estate. This diversity is a key factor to consider that differentiates us from other business schools. Next slide, please. All right, now let's get into the central part of this session. I will hand it over to my colleague Alex to lead on this section, which is the actual admissions process.
Thank you, Ali. Hi, everyone. My name is Alex McNamara, and as Ali said, I've worked here for 10 years, and for the past several years, I've worked on Ember Admissions. And my role as Senior Admissions Advisor is to work with you, the applicant, in order to process your application, keep you updated on the status, the timelines, once you've submitted your application. Also involved in my role, and what I'm here to talk about today, is to work with our admissions committee, who will assess your application and tell you the types of things that they're looking for when they're assessing your application, what the common pitfalls are for an applicant that they may miss when they're applying, and what you can really do to emphasize the strengths of your application when you submit it. So you'll see here a summary of our admissions requirements. All applications are submitted via our online application portal, and I recommend that you do go and start an application so you can have a look at it and see what you'll need to do along with what I will talk you through today. So I'm going to talk through each one of these admissions requirements or things that you'll need to submit as part of your application individually. And I'll begin with management experience. So as Alejandra showed you on the previous slides, our average student has around 14 or 15 years of work experience. We look for a minimum of 5 years professional management experience. And that's a very broad definition. You saw that breakdown of sectors and industries that are represented within our class. We don't have a template student that we're looking for. We look at all applications holistically. So we are looking at all of these things that you see in front of you when we are assessing an application. Now, if you have more work experience, we have lots of students that have that. And if you have less, we'd also consider your application as well. And the way you can demonstrate your management experience is simply by submitting a CV. So we ask all candidates to submit a CV, usually around 2 pages. We have a template on the application form that you can follow if you'd like. And your CV should show in a snapshot the progression you've had throughout your career, the type of roles you've held, any international experience, so we can see the depth of your experience and what kind of roles you've had and what you're doing now. We recommend that you address any gaps. You know, if there was a period since you've graduated from university where you weren't working for any reason, we recommend you include that. And we also recommend you include any roles straight out of university or school that you had as well. This all helps to paint the picture of your professional background and the type of contributions that you will make as a student in the class. I recommend you have a look on our website where we have our student profile books, and you will see the wide range of different backgrounds professionally that our students come from. You will also be asked to define your current role, the responsibilities that you have, how many people you manage, the type of budgets you may manage, and so on, in a text box on the application form. So give that some thought. And then if you're invited to interview, which we'll talk about a bit later, that will also discuss further your professional background, your motivations for doing the program, and what you're looking to achieve professionally going forward. So next, I'll move on to academics. Now, the reason we asked that all candidates have an undergraduate degree of a second-class uppers in the UK system is that we want to make sure that you are able to cope with the academic rigor of the program. It is a master's degree, and while your experience will offer a lot and you'll learn a lot from each other in the class, you will have to do assignments on the program, and we want to make sure that you're comfortable with that. So we understand that because we have such a large international student body and we receive applications from all around the world, that degrees and academics can differ in different countries, and therefore we have the skill sets to provide an equivalent when reviewing your application. To do that, we ask that you upload a transcript for each degree that you hold. And you'll see on the side of the screen, I've included a sample transcript. And the transcript shows all of the modules that you studied on your program and the grades you achieved in each. And this allows us to see the subjects that you've studied, the particular degree and results that you got. And it allows us to assess your academic credibility and skill sets for the program. We ask that you do this for all degrees. And if your transcript is not in English, we ask that you have it certifiably translated into English. Many universities around the world will provide them in English. Now, for most of our students, it will have been around 15 years since they studied at university. It could be more, it could be less. So you may not have your transcript. So we recommend that if you don't have access to it, you order it now. Before you submit your application, order your transcript, and then that will allow your university the processing time to provide it to you to upload to your application. You can apply without having your transcript available immediately, but your application won't be reviewed until you've provided it for all of your degrees. Furthermore, we ask that you, if your degree is taught in English within the last 2 years, you will be eligible for an English language waiver, which I'll go into in a bit more detail in a later slide. Next up is the GMAT and executive assessment. So similar to the undergraduate degree, this is to demonstrate your comfort with the quantitative and analytical elements of the program. We want to make sure that you're going to be comfortable with what you're being assessed on and what you're being taught. If you find that your degree maybe is not a true reflection of your current ability, and it may not meet that 2-1 requirement, then as I say, we do review applications holistically. And one way you could provide a true reflection of your academic ability is to take a GMAT or an executive assessment. We ask that for a GMAT, you provide a minimum score of 600, or for an executive assessment, a minimum score of 150. The difference between the two tests is that the executive assessment is geared more towards executive MBA applicants. So therefore, generally speaking, there's less preparation required because it assesses the skill sets that you will most likely be demonstrating in your professional background. We do offer a waiver from this requirement if you have over 10 years of experience, and you may have some quantitative mathematical experience professionally or academically. So again, when we look at your transcript, we may be looking at what type of quantitative subjects you studied and the grades you achieved in them. Alternatively, in your professional background, you may be managing large budgets, you may have experience quantitatively as well. So if you are applying for a waiver, you'll be asked the question on the application form, yes or no, are you applying for a waiver? And if you respond yes, you'll be asked to submit a document, usually up to 500 words, that just outlined where in your professional and academic experience you've demonstrated those skill sets mentioned that's assessed by the GMAT and the executive assessment. So make sure that you are addressing everything that you may be able to offer in that regard. Don't assume that it's going to be reviewed alongside your CV. It will be, but you should also make sure that you're including all of that information for it to be read independently. So include any budgets you manage, any experience with spreadsheets and things like that, and the extent of your professional experience. If you're not applying for a waiver, then you can upload your test score. They're valid for around 5 years from when you take it. And then you'll be asked to provide your score sheet, and we are then able to check and verify the score directly with GMAT. Next up, English proficiency. So this is important because the program is taught and assessed entirely in English. We want you to be able to communicate openly and clearly with your classmates, with your faculty, and also to be comfortable with everything that you're being taught. If you are a citizen of a country recognised as English speaking by UKVI, then you will not be asked to provide any evidence of this on your application form. Once you've entered in your information, you will either be asked for an English ability, you'll either be provided with the English ability section or you won't. And if you are asked to prove your English proficiency, then you'll either be asked to take one of the English language proficiency tests listed there, or alternatively, you can apply for a waiver from that if you've completed a degree taught within the last 2 years, taught in English. Now, typically speaking, our students don't meet that requirement, as I said before. So that may not be particularly relevant here. The more relevant option would be if you have significant experience using English professionally. If you're working in an English-speaking environment day to day, and you're comfortable with your English and you feel like you'll be comfortable within the classroom, you can apply for a waiver. And the application form will outline exactly what you'll need to demonstrate in that waiver, but you'll need to address all of those things that are assessed on the English language proficiency test. So speaking, reading, listening, writing. And in your waiver, we'll ask you to detail all of your experience of working in English. So anything you do day to day, if you're talking to clients, if your workplace is English speaking, if your degree was taught in English, and so on. Because we want to really make sure that you're not being set up to fail. We want to set you up to succeed. So when you apply, if you are given the English ability section, which will happen automatically on the basis of your citizenship, you can either input your test score on the test score page, or you can apply for your waiver in the English ability section. This again should probably be up to 1 page. It can differ. You might want to add a bit more, you might add a bit less. And again, we'll talk about this a bit more, but this can also be assessed at interview stage as well. So next up, references. We ask for a minimum of 2 references. This is our opportunity to get to know you better, to get a third-party reference that allows us to know the impact that you're making in your professional background. We ask for at least 1 professional referee, but realistically, we would suggest that you provide 2. This should be someone who knows you well, such as your current line manager, or a senior person that you've worked with closely, or a previous line manager, someone who's going to put the time in to write about you and answer our questions. Your referee will be asked a series of multiple choice questions around, as I say, your impact professionally, and then asked to write their reference, which again, usually it comes out to about 1 page. So you will want someone who's going to be able to commit the time to that. The reason I specify someone who knows you well is because there can be a temptation to ask, let's say, the CEO of your organization, and they might not know you very well, and they might write quite a short reference, and then we don't learn very much from that reference. So that's why a line manager is generally the most relevant person who can provide one. If you're an entrepreneur, you may struggle to think of someone who can provide a reference. So therefore, we'd suggest someone like a client that you work closely with, someone if you've had a previous corporate role, a business partner or someone within the industry who's able to provide a reference about you. The references will be contacted us via their professional email address. So I suggest you enter their details early. As soon as you enter their details in your application form, we will contact them. And it's a very easy process. They just have a link to follow. They can upload their letter, and this will update you and the referee once it's been submitted. The final thing to mention is it shouldn't be family or friends. So if you work in a family business, this again can be quite tricky, but we wouldn't want a reference from a family member. We wouldn't want a personal reference from a friend. This should be looking at your professional aptitude rather than being a personal recommendation. Next up, the essays. The essays are probably the item of the application form that you will commit the most time to. You'll see that we asked for 3 written essays and a video essay, and I've outlined each question on the slide in front of you. Essay 1, we're looking to understand a bit more about why you want to study your MBA, what your motivations for the program are, what you're looking to achieve going forward, so that we can understand if this is the right program for you. Question 2 is a self-reflection piece. We want to know from you what your colleagues would say about you and what your strengths and weaknesses are. This should be written by you. We're not looking for feedback from your colleagues because we get that from your references. This is an opportunity for us to get to know you a bit more, as I say, and for you to tell us a bit more about you. We want to know what you think that you might be able to improve on, let's say, soft skills, and where the program might be able to help, and what your strengths are and what you've achieved. We want to hear both. It's only 500 words, so you can't go into too much detail, but it is an opportunity for us to get to know you a little bit. Essay 3 is the largest essay. It's a 2,000-word essay. Now, this essay is an opportunity for you to submit the type of essay that you would submit when you're on the program. If you're applying for a GMAT waiver, then this is also an opportunity for you to showcase your analytical ability through your written work. So we really recommend you take the time over this essay. This is going to be an important aspect, and one thing where applicants can often fall down if they don't meet the word count. Because if you don't meet the word count, you're not providing that true reflection of your written ability or analytical ability to the admissions committee, and therefore it makes it much more difficult for them to review your application. And then the video essay. We ask you to present and pitch on the 3 action plans that you've outlined in essay 3 and provide the action plan that you think is the best of the 3, as if you are presenting this to senior leaders within your organisation. Again, this is our chance for us to get to know you a bit better, to understand your analytical ability, and to make sure that you've really put the thought into essay 3 that allows us to assess your application. Some tips that we provide about the essays. Read the questions carefully. So in particular, the word count, as I say. You don't want to be submitting an essay that is below the suggested word count because it can disadvantage your application. Make sure you're checking your spelling, punctuation, grammar, and so forth. And write as though it's for a non-specialized audience. So if you're using any abbreviations or acronyms, we suggest that you explain it. Don't plagiarize or use AI. So all essays will be run through anti-plagiarism software. And it's also quite obvious when an AI essay is submitted. And again, it will really disadvantage your application because we know it's not written by you. And how can we possibly assess your application if you're just producing it from an AI? So really take the time over it. We understand that you may use it for inspiration, but we really want to know from you what your thoughts on essay 3 are. So we want to know your action plans specific to your organisation, which you will have gained from your years of experience. The use of AI can lead to these being quite generalised, which is why it's much better to use themes that you've come up with yourself. Again, it's an opportunity for us to get to know you better and what sets you apart. So really use this as that opportunity to tell us about you. As I've said earlier, we're not looking for a template student. We don't look specifically to tick certain boxes. We just want to get to know you a bit better. and see what your written ability will be like, because we also need to make sure that you're able to do these assignments when you're on the program. So enjoy the process. This will be the type of thing and self-reflection that you'll be doing when you're on the program, along with your classes. So post-admissions and the interview process. So if you're a successful applicant and you've gone through all of those steps that I've been through before, and you've submitted your application will come to us in admissions. We will send an email confirming we've received it and outline any items that we may be missing. So you can apply, as I say, without having provided your transcripts. You can apply without your references having been submitted. We just need you to have provided that information, and then your application won't be reviewed until we've received them. So particularly with references, if you apply for our 10th of November deadline, we'll be looking to receive those within around a week after the deadline, and you've submitted your application. So make sure your referees are prepared and they're ready to submit your application so it can be reviewed. Once your application has been reviewed, if you are successful at that point, then you will be invited to interview. We conduct our interviews online. They take around 30 minutes, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about them on the next slide. And then after your interview, there will be a final review process with our admissions committee, and hopefully all being well, congratulations, we make you an offer to the program. This whole process can take around 4 to 6 weeks from when you submit your application, and we will keep you updated in admissions with all of those dates as you go. We'll be available as well to answer any questions that you may have. So, the interview. As I say, if you have submitted your application, it's complete, we've received your transcripts, your references, it's been reviewed by our admissions committee, we will invite you to interview to get to know you a bit better. It's a one-to-one conversation with a senior member of the school or faculty. They'll have read your application in detail, and they will want to discuss that with you further. So in particular, things like your essays, they will read those in detail and they may challenge you on them. Again, we want to know the type of contributions you may make in the classroom. So they may challenge you on points of your essays to see how you respond and what type of thought you've put into the essays and what you may be able to contribute in a classroom discussion. They will also discuss your current role and your motivation for the program, whether the program is right for you, whether we can offer the type of progression that you're looking for, to make sure that we're the right fit for you as much as you're the right fit for us. They'll ask you about the program and any specific examples that you may have about how the program can assist you in those motivations. So let's say, for example, you have entrepreneurial ambitions, then you may familiarize yourself with the Entrepreneurship Centre or the Scholl Centre and be prepared to give examples that lets your interviewer know that you're well researched on the program and you know what the commitment is. An EMBA is a transformational program. You will gain so much from an EMBA, and we see our students gain so much, but it is a big commitment. We want to make sure that you are prepared for that when you're considering the program. And then finally, just reread your application as well. Make sure there's no inconsistencies at interview and that conversation can flow and there's no issues around that. As I say, it's just an opportunity for us to get to know you a bit better. And you will also have opportunity at the end to ask questions. Our interviewers are very experienced. They're senior members of the school who may have worked on the program or working careers and so on. And they'll have some insights from other students and from the school that they'll be able to share with you when answering your questions. And then if you're successful, we will send you an offer email after your interview, once your application has been reviewed by our admissions committee, with all the details of how to accept your offer if you would like to. So that's all from me, and I will now pass back to Ali.
Thank you, Alex, for the detailed explanation and helpful tips. Next slide, please. Now, on the tuition fee, so that you know, it includes all tuition, assessment, essential reading, materials, meals, career services, and coaching sessions, membership of an Oxford college. This is something very traditional from the University of Oxford, and of course, as well, the Oxford Union, this famous debating society where you will be invited to debate with famous speakers, Typical speakers could be politicians, movie stars, athletes, and you will be invited to participate in these debates as well. So you will have this membership as well included. And of course, the fee will also include the accommodation for the core international modules that you will have delivered overseas. In terms of the payments, it is payable in installments, so you don't need to pay for all the fee upfront. If your application is successful, 15% deposit is payable to secure your place, followed by a 50% of the program fee a month before the start of the program, and the remaining 35% by the beginning of your second year. Next slide, please. And as you can see on this slide, there are a number of different financing options available. Two of the loan companies that often come recommended by our students are Prodigy Finance and Lendwise. There are, of course, different types of options available. But our advice would be to investigate the various options and find out more of which one would be the best one for you. We also have, as you can see here, a number of different scholarships available. To highlight some of them, like for example, the EMBA Scholarship Award, the Director Scholarship Award, the Women's Scholarship, the Ruli Scholarship, the Hashmukh Patel, and the Oxford Community Scholarships. So there are plenty of different options available, and in addition to that, you will also see that the Oxford University has over 1,000 different types of scholarships available. I would advise you to use the scholarship option where you will be able to provide details about yourself, and this way hopefully you will be able to find additional scholarships awarded by the University of Oxford. My advice would be to try to apply to as many as you can. However, please be aware that the selection process is going to be highly competitive. So we recommend that you consider additional sources of financial support for your studies rather than just relying solely on these scholarships. In order to find out more, I highly recommend you to use the QR codes that you can see here on the slides provided. Next slide, please. Okay, now here you can see the upcoming deadlines. If you're wondering, am I still in time to submit an application for January? Yes, you are. You still almost have a month to complete your application. It's possible. We still have places available, scholarships and colleges available. So please submit your application in case you want to start in the new year with your Oxford experience. Next slide, please. As you can see here, we have recently opened the portal for September 2026. As you can see, we have still 5 deadlines coming up, being the next one also on the 10th of November. Next slide, please. And here, in case you would like to find out more about am I the right candidate for an Oxford Executive MBA, one possible way to find out would be to submit your CV for review or schedule a call directly with one of us, the recruitment managers. We can assess you to see if you are fit for the program. Otherwise, we can advise you to search or consider other programs as well. And I think it's going to be very useful for you, as we can also provide some useful tips, as Alex just did, in order to submit a strong application. If you're wondering, okay, are there any more events coming up? Yes. So please also use the QR code that you can see here on the screen to find out more. And we would be happy to see you also in person or online in the upcoming sessions that we have prepared. So stay tuned and use the QR code for more details. Next slide, please. All right, I think we covered also some of your questions. So in this case, I just want to say thank you for attending today's session, and we hope the information provided was useful, and we are really looking forward to hopefully welcoming you soon in Oxford in a new future. So thank you very much, and please contact us if you have any more questions. Thank you.